Welcome back to the Sneaker Bench. Today we are talking about our top 10 Air Max models of all time. We have 2 cameras today.
Due to budget increases, we have multicam.
Okay. So,
Wait, so do we even need this one anymore?
no. Just turn. Okay, guys. Actually, welcome back to the Sneaker Bench. Today, Raj and I are both giving out our top 10 Air Max models of all time. Again, this is a opinion list. This is not our objective list of the best Air Max models. I think Raj can attest that his list might be... We do not know each other's list yet, but Raj has told me that his list is a little...
Inflammatory.
Off the deep end, not the social norm, may ruffle some feathers. My list probably more congruent with mass opinion, but we will see. Let's get into it with our number 10. Raj, what is your number 10 Air Max model of all time?
So I'm actually going to start with an honorable mention. The honorable mention is the Vapor Maxes. Those came out in 2017, I think, and I love that model. I think they're very cool, but they just didn't make the top 10. My number 10, though, is the Air Max 94. I just think that's such a cool shoe. I like the, weird... It just has, a weird look to it, and I dig it. I just like that model a lot. I wish it would come out with more colorways. It might not be, in trend today, but I think it's a shoe that just looks... I think it's going to look cool no matter how you wear it, bro.
I agree. That shoe is cool. Did not make my list. Was an honorable mention. I forgot to write my honorable mentions down on my piece of paper. There were a few shoes that didn't make the list, but there are a lot of good Air Maxes. And wherever a shoe is on our lists, they're not bad shoes. There's so many good Air Maxes that they couldn't all make the top 10 list, which is just a testament to how good the Air Max line has been over time. I think both those shoes are good, including the Vapor Max. Vapor Max didn't make my list either, but in terms of recent Air Max releases, I think they are very cool. A little narrow for myself. But coming in at my number 10 is the Nike Tuned Max, which is in the original celery colorway. Did inspire the Skepta 97, and it's just a very cool sneaker. It doesn't get talked about that much, but due to the semi-recent re-release, has sparked some buzz about it, and I don't have much crazy things to say about it. Originally released in 1999, but cool sneaker. That's my number 10. Raj, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is the Air Max 95. I like this shoe a lot, but I know it's really low on the list.
Oh, video's canceled.
I know it's super low on the list. I just like some of these other shoes more. The 95 is a cool pair. It was also the first Air Max I ever had. I had the wolf gray colorway, so it does have a special place in my heart, but I just like these other shoes a little bit more.
I am scared to hear the rest of Raj's list. The Air Max 95 was not even a top 5 Air Max for Raj. I'm not going to say much about that. It will be on my list later. But my number 9 is the Air Max 93. The OG Dusty Cactus colorway is really cool. Of course, released in 1993. Very cool. I personally like some of the Air Maxes with... Part of the reason I like Air Maxes a lot is they have less Nike branding sometimes. But some of the earlier ones have, the regular kind of Nike swoosh looking Air Max vibe, which, of course, I like. It's number 9 on my list. But the reasons I just suggested are kind of why I like some of the Air Maxes above it on the list more, because they seem a little more out there on the design. But nonetheless, Air Max 93, very good shoe. And one of my favorite Air Max 93s is the size colorway. It's kind of a baconish colorway. I'll put a picture. I don't know the exact name, but it's very, very, very cool. Raj, your number?
8. My number 8 on the list, you just talked about it, it's the Air Max 93. Great shoe. You said a lot about them, so I'm not going to rant too much, but the Dusty Cactus colorway is just so nice. It's just such a good shoe to look at, and it's super interesting. I think it's an interesting take on the Air Max. So, yeah. That's all I really have to say.
Coming in number 8, I have the Air Max 360. Originally released in 2006. I really, really, really like the Air Max 360s. I think they are sweet. They've come out in a few cool collaborations like a long while ago, but they really have not come out. Again, they've come out in the VaporMax, with the VaporMax Soul, which I did get a pair of those. Because the VaporMax are a little too narrow for me. That was a cool way for me to, wear the VaporMax Soul. But the Air Max 360 coming back in OG form would be really, really cool. I think they're awesome. And with this new runner trend, I think it could make sense to bring them back out soon. But we will see. I don't know.
I mean, I agree. That is a super good shoe. It didn't make my list, but he has like the upper version, like you said, with the VaporMax, and they look super sick. Is that the OG colorway that you have, the red and silver?
Yes.
Okay, very cool. My number 7 on the list is also gonna turn some heads. This might be the worst one. The Air Max 1 at number 7.
Hold on. What the hell?
I like the Air Max 1. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like all of these shoes, but some of these shoes are just a little bit more interesting. They're a little bit more out there, and I dig them a little bit more. The Air Max 1 is a great shoe. There's so many great colorways of it. There's so many great collabs of it. But yeah, that's at my number 7.
All right. I'm visibly in distress at the moment. I'm not going to say anything about that. It's higher on my list as well. Coming in number 7 for me is the Air Max 180. I think the Air Max 180 is really, really cool. Definitely groundbreaking for the time it came out, where you could see the air bubble from 180 degrees. You could look at the outsole and you could still see the air bubble. Pretty darn cool stuff.
Yep.
Seems like it's coming back into trend-ish. People seem to be more excited about the Air Max 180 more recently. It's coming back, of course. I think we mentioned this already in a previous video, but possibly not. Next summer in the Ultramarine colorway. I will be getting those, and I assume they won't be that expensive. Shoes like that usually don't resell, at least at the beginning when they come out. So I'm very excited for those. I love them. And we also did a video on the Bacon colorway, so feel free to check out that video after you're done watching this one. Raj?
My number 6 is the Air Max ST, the 1992 version. This shoe is just super cool. I think it's a really cool mix between like a kind of sleeker. It's a good mix between like those silver like running shoes and like a dad shoe. I just think it's a super cool, interesting silhouette. I haven't seen them anywhere because I don't think they've come out since maybe 1992. But just a super cool silhouette to me.
Yeah, the Air Max ST above the Air Max 1, folks. Let's just take a note of that. Moving forward, the Air Max, or the number 6 sneaker for me, I have the Air Max 98. Of course, came out in 1998. I love the Air Max 98. Very cool. Came out, re-released again for the anniversary. I believe it was 2018. That's one sneaker, the Tour Yellow and the Gundam, both very cool colorways. The Tour Yellow I wanted, but it was kind of one thing that was like on my radar, and it was on my radar too long. I didn't get it, and by the time I actually wanted to get it, it was probably $150 or more dollars.
Yeah.
More than I was willing to spend, and then I was just bummed out. Now I am waiting for the Air Max 98s to come back out again. Very, very, very cool sneaker. We're kind of getting in the territory now, if we haven't already, of sneakers, or the Air Maxes on my list kind of getting a little more abstract. Maybe some mini swooshes, but not any huge swooshes on them. I think that is the coolest sweet spot in general. There are exceptions, of course. For the Air Max line, I think that is the coolest sweet spot. I love the Air Max 98.
Air Max 98 is a great shoe. Will be on my list later. May or may not be on my list later. My number 5 spot goes to the Air Max Plus. I have this shoe. I love this shoe. There's so many cool colorways. I have the purple. I have like the OG purple one, but then there's also this like orange, or it's like the yellow and orange one that is like an OG colorway. Super nice. I love that shoe. I think you could wear it with like almost anything, and it's so comfortable. It just gives you so much in one shoe, and I just really enjoy it. I think you can wear it with so many different things. You can wear it with like jeans or shorts, and it looks good regardless. And I think it also fits into like this runner trend that we're going into, like back in the early 2000s. It's gonna fit into that space, even though it's obviously like not technically one of those. But yeah, that's my number 5 spot.
Coming at number 5 for me is also the Air Max Plus. The Air Max 98 and forgot to mention, but the Air Max 98 and the Air Max Plus are both sneakers that were very, very big overseas in the UK and in Europe in general, but especially the UK and the kind of grime-ish scene. Both of those sneakers are very cool, and the Air Max Plus is just it's sweet. I have the Sunburn pair, I believe. The colorway, orangish colorway Raj was describing, I believe, was the Sunset colorway.
Yeah.
I think there are so many really cool Air Max Pluses, and until I got my pair, I didn't fully appreciate them, but they're super comfortable in my opinion, and I just really enjoy wearing my pair. I have nothing but good things to say about the Air Max Plus. Really, really cool design. Also called the TN for the Tuned Air overseas, but in the US we call them, for the most part, the Air Max Pluses, and overseas they call them the TNs. But anyways, what's your number 4, Raj?
My number 4 is the Air Max 180. I love that shoe. Like you already mentioned, they're coming out again next year or later this year, and just the ultramarine colorway just looks so nice. I love the overall build of the silhouette. It's such an interesting looking shoe, and I also think it's something that's just like you can just wear that with anything. I love shoes that are versatile, and I think that's maybe the most versatile out of all the Air Maxes. You already kind of said what I was gonna say, but it's just such a nice shoe.
It is a nice shoe. Would I agree it's the most versatile? No. But that's why we have our own list, and that's why these videos are fun to make, because we are making our own opinions. So, now, I'm getting into my top 4. In my opinion, I think the top 4 Air Maxes are most likely set in stone. Personally, I knew which 4 were going to be in my top 4. I just didn't know which order they were going to be in.
Yeah.
This is where it got really hard to rank these, and I don't necessarily feel great about my next ranking, but I did do it, and I ranked the Air Max 90 as my number 4 Air Max of all time. It's a great shoe. Maybe the Air Max you see most just on the street of average Joes wearing, which kind of makes me want to put it higher. But in terms of how I personally feel, I have multiple pairs of Air Max 90s, but I like the shoes ahead of it more, and I think some of the shoes ahead of it more look a little more unique, or maybe did more for sneakers in general. In terms of going from the Air Max 1 to the Air Max 90, I don't know how much things were changed. They look cool, but I like some of the more innovative or funky designs more than Air Max 90. But with that being said, the Air Max 90 is amazing, and I love it. That's why it is so high up on the list.
My number 3 goes to the Air Max 98. I love the Air Max 98. It's such an interesting shoe to look at, because I think the patch detail on the front just adds so much, and I really wish there'd be more collaborations with that shoe, because I think there's so many different things that you could do with it. Like, there's so many different directions you could go, because there's so many different pieces, like parts to the shoe, and there's so many little like details that I think get overlooked sometimes. And it's definitely a silhouette that does get overlooked, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Just such an interesting shoe to look at. I love it so much.
Supreme collaboration on the Air Max 98 is sweet. I almost got a pair of those. There was a sneaker store that posted a picture of them, and I got there as quick as I could. It was a Sunday, and they were gone by the time I got there. Very sad moment for me. But my number 3 Air Max of all time is the Air Max 97. I think the Air Max 97 is super cool. I have a pair of the Silver Bullets. I've worn them all the time. I don't have too much to say about them. Of course, I don't know if I have to say this, but released in 1997. They just look so sweet. And like I've said earlier in the video, there's not much Nike branding on the sneaker. You look at it and you kind of just know it's an Air Max 97, and that's one reason I think it's really cool when a design is so synonymous with the name and the brand and the Air Max line in general. I think that is really, really cool, and that's why they're number 3 on my list.
Number 2 on my list is the Air Max 90. I love the infrared colorway. It's one of my favorite shoes of all time, I think. You have the bacon colorway. That's a great colorway as well, right? It's the bacon. That's what it's called.
Bacon, yeah.
Yeah, the bacon colorway is a great colorway as well. I just think it's such a cool shoe to look at, and there's so many nice, sweet colorways of it. And it's also I've never owned a pair, but I've worn them like in the store when I was considering buying them, and they're just so comfy. It might be one of the next shoes I get. We'll see. But the 90 is just such a cool shoe to look at, and I think, yeah, I mean that's it. It's not that much to say. It's an iconic shoe.
My number 2 Air Max of all time is the Air Max 95. I went back and forth picking between my 1 and 2 spot. Of course, I'm sure you could guess the number 1 spot now, but the Air Max 95 is so cool. Again, the layer design, designed after or in inspiration by the human body with the layers of skin. And you got the spine on the back, and the outsole. You have the PSI ratings. It's so cool. It's such a good sneaker, and there are a lot of cool collaborations that have been done in the past, i.e. the Stash pair is really cool. The Coral Studios pair is really cool. Talking about more recently, the Cortez pair, or Cortez, how you say it, is really, really cool. And there's so many really cool OG colorways, and they also have a premium kind of vibe with the suede and whatnot, not always seen on running sneakers, but I think those are awesome. I love them, and I want to get more Air Max 95s. I just love them so much.
And it's a great shoe, but
just say your
My number 1 is the Air Max 97. I love that shoe so much. I just like how interesting it looks, and it's just like super weird looking, which I kind of like. It's like futuristic looking. It kind of looks like a spaceship to me, and I just really like it, kind of like a UFO type vibe. I only have the Skeptic colorway, but I want to get the silver bullets because I know those are sitting everywhere right now somehow. Or not, maybe not even sitting, but like they're reselling for like retail or under retail, and it's just such a cool looking shoe. But I just can't justify right now buying 2 pairs of 97s when I want to get different silhouettes.
I do love the Air Max 97. Something I didn't mention before is the gold Air Max 97s is something I've got my eye on because those are also, kind of sitting in places, and I think those are very cool. And eventually people will be like, whoa, why did we buy those? They're really cool. It happens with almost every OG Air Max release that somehow people don't realize they're cool until they start reselling for 2 times the retail price, and then people start buying them then. But anyways, coming into my number 1 spot, I think, is one of the greatest sneakers, if not one of the greatest shoes made, designed ever. It's the Air Max 1. It's amazing. And I know this kind of goes against what I said earlier in terms of synonymous designs, not including like a swoosh and whatnot, but this design is still synonymous, just in a different way. You look at this, it's inspired every single other shoe we've talked about, and it released in 1987, so ahead of its time. And even though the design is so simple, the panels are changed in such cool ways on certain collaborations in different colorways that I don't know, you realize it's cooler and cooler the more colorways and the more cool designs you see, and how people switch the materials to different things and whatnot. It's really great. Some of the best Nike shoes of all time, I think, are Air Max 1s, and some of the best collaborations on any Nike sneaker a lot of the time are Air Max 1s. Some of those old Para and Pata Air Max 1s are some of the coolest shoes like ever, in my opinion. And I don't have much else to say about it. I could talk to you about why I think the Air Max 1 is cool for longer, but I don't want to keep you guys for too long. That was our top 10 Air Max models of all time. Thank you guys for watching. We both have our own lists, both opinions.
Yeah, these are just what we like, all right? I'm not saying I'm not saying this was the most influential or the most important. These are just like the ones I like the most.
With that being said, Raj's list may... Tell us what your favorite Air Maxes are in the comments below. If you liked my list more, if you liked Raj's list more, which one did you agree with more? Where were we wrong? What did we do wrong? Give us your top 5 Air Maxes in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.
That's it.